Welcome to How You Grievin, a podcast, the space where we talk grief, healing, and pretty much any and everything else that we need to discuss. I'm your host, Malcolm G, and I want to remind you every Sunday I drop a new episode at 11:17 p.m. on all major platforms. So let's just get into it. And I'm going to answer the question. And then I want to share. So let me go back. This episode is me answering the question how I'm grieving, sharing information for things to come, and pretty much just checking in and just giving out information on things and tools that you do have to use. So the question is, are you grieving? So today, my grief stands still. My grief is calm. My grief is still there. And I'm still grieving a lot of things. Of course, I'll forever grieve the loss of the transition of my sister, the transition of my grandparents, um, the loss of relationships, the ending of relationships, rather. I've only been single for like 6 months, and grieving that relationship is different than any other relationship I've grieved because it was a lot of traumatic experiences, and it was a lot of good experiences, but it was a lot of traumatic experiences that I had with someone. So grieving that, grieving the relocation of my life, leaving Dallas, Texas, and being here in Atlanta, and Atlanta feels home and it feels beautiful, and I'm having a really great time here, and life is still, but just grieving not being that anymore. And we grieve transitions through within jobs. So I got a lot going on in a very positive way, so that is pretty much where I'm at right now today, as I say this, as I'm doing this episode. And if you're grieving, that can change later on this evening, but that's where I'm at so far. And just to dig a little deeper, I would say, if you listen to the podcast, like a lot of memories are here where I am currently. So I went to my sister's old room to get the iron because the iron was downstairs. And I was like, and I went in her bathroom. Obviously, I had to pee. And I was just like, huh, this used to be your bathroom. And it didn't make me sad, but it made me just feel and just remember. Um, it felt good in a way to know that I can still remember you and things you used to do and what used to be yours and how you used to speak and just things like that. So I think that's beautiful. Um, Among all the other things that I'm grieving, I recently I joined this Zoom, and it was how to move on and continue through grief or while grieving or something like that. And I saw this advertised on Eventbrite, and it was with this man named Chad Earhart. And it was very informational. He talked about different stages, and he talked about the normal things like when you're grieving and people say, oh, time heals all wounds. And he's like, no, it doesn't. He's like, oh, it won't last forever. And just how people think you should just get over things. And it was kind of informative. And then at the end of that, it became a selling point. And this man was charging $6,000 to help you get through your grief. Basically telling you that there is a way you should be grieving, but also telling you in his speech that there is not a way you should be grieving. I would advise you not to pay $6,000. Like, if you're out there and you really need help, there is a lot of free programs. You can get you a grief counselor. You can go to therapy, and therapy is not $6,000. Like, it was a very informational situation. Just, it was, I don't want to say it was informational because it was information being given. It was not information that I would use or even recommend. So it was just like, it was a very weird situation, and it was really false advertisement because I didn't even know that I was signing up for something like that. So when you're grieving and you're looking at things, be mindful and I guess ask the questions if necessary. And I was only like, now in my life, I do things to network. Of course, I hope I always get something and learn something from it. But I really was just going on there to network and tell people about my podcast. Like, I'm doing this my way. I'm not necessarily going to anybody else for help. I'm my own teacher, right? Because I've been here for a while and I've been doing this, and this is just what I do. So I experienced that. That was last week. So be careful what you sign up for. And I want to let you know, back to what I was saying, there are a lot of programs for grief. There's a lot of free events, free help. A lot of churches do counseling for free. There's hotlines you can call. There's definitely phone numbers. And then, like, if you're somebody, so with that being said, do your research. Don't pay $6,000 for help because that just does not make sense. And you're very vulnerable in those stages of grief. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that that is not necessary. So if you are grieving, you just lost someone and you've been grieving and you're trying to figure out how to get to the other side, don't let these people sell you anything regarding pain to heal. I can understand if you're going on a retreat, but paying for something for somebody to talk to you that's available to you, that's a therapist. You can pay me for that, but not no $6,000. That was insane. Um, so yeah, just be on the lookout for things that try to get your attention because you're in a very vulnerable state. And I do want to remind people, like, when you lose somebody, I was speaking with a friend earlier and we were talking about like bereavement, and he was telling me that his company does, you get sick days but you get safe days. So if you need to be out longer, they give you like an additional like 5 days of safe days to where you do not need to show a doctor's note if you decide not to use your bereavement days. But most companies give you 3 to 5 bereavement days, and some companies only do it for close family members, which is insane. I don't understand how I can tell you my aunt passed and you consider that a close family, close family, but then I tell you a friend of mine passed and you don't consider. Who are you to consider who is close family to me in my life? That is insane. I really do believe jobs should get rid of that. Like, how dare you tell me who's important to me in my life and who I want to show up for? And I feel like death is so personal and so special, and it's an intimate space for you to want to go and show your respects to a family that is grieving, and you have a job that says, oh, well, that's not, that person wasn't that close to you, so you don't have the right to use these days to be sad or to feel. That's insane. So I do think that's something that we probably should correct in life one day. Maybe I can get involved in that or something. But I do just want to remind you of those options and those choices that you do have. And if you need to use your sick time, use your sick time. Yo, at the end of the day, these jobs are getting better at things now, but they want to have so much control over you and the people you love. And that is insane. So just don't allow that to happen to you, and just be mindful of your options. Um, Sometimes people need to use FMLA. And if that's something you need to use, then use your FMLA as well. Have your doctor already lined up, have your therapist already lined up, and let them know that these are the things that you need help with so they can get the ball rolling, because your therapist is licensed to sign all that paperwork. You don't necessarily have to go to a doctor to get that done. You got a regular therapist, you got a psychiatrist, or whatever you have. Those are the people that can help you when you're in situations like this. They can take you out of work for something else. Now you're depressed because your job has officially ruined you and you almost missed a funeral. So now you're depressed and now you need to get FMLA. So what now? Take that time. Take that time that you need because it's so necessary. I'd rather you take the time than go to work after the 3 days and you're always going to be grieving, but just to go back to work like that is crazy. And that whole stay busy shit, it's bullshit. That whole, oh, somebody died, I got to stay busy so I don't grieve, so I don't feel. That's insane also. And people are out here really doing that. And those are the people that's going to cuss your ass out at the gas station. That's going to cuss you out when you ask them to scan one more thing in the scanner. So be mindful of your feelings. I just want to encourage you to take care of yourself and to have the knowledge to do so and to reach out to people if you need help. I do also want to acknowledge one of my followers, or a few of my followers, have asked this question. Is it normal to be numb after multiple deaths? Yes, it is normal. I've become numb after multiple deaths, and it's not the way I want it to be, but it's just what ended up happening. I just became numb, and some deaths really don't affect me like it did in the beginning. And that's just what it is. But you also have to be mindful that you do figure out how you're going to grieve or how you're grieving. And if being numb is what it is, then that's just what it is. But keep that in mind. Like, am I okay? Like, continue to ask yourself these questions. Like, make sure your mental is good. Make sure you're not spazzing out. Make sure that you are not acting out in different ways. Pay attention to yourself and listen to your body. And there's a lot of ways that you can be numb and it still affects you. You can change your eating habits. You can eat more or you can eat less. You can start working more and like not really paying attention to your health. You can go into a depression and not even realize you're there. So listen to the people around you. Listen to the people that love you. Listen to the people that know you the best. Um, and really like take it in when they tell you that it seems like you're not okay, or it seems like you're doing this because of this, because you wasn't like that before. So just pay that attention. So shout out to the people that's been asking these questions. You can get numb and it is normal. I have family members that's just been losing people, back to back to back to back to back, and they're numb, but they still grieve, you know? So just keep that in mind. You can be numb, but still grieve. And I really do want to thank you for taking the time out to listen to me and to whether you're listening, you're watching, or you're doing both. You had to stop watching, so now you got to just listen. Thank you for listening to How You Grieving the podcast. And I appreciate y'all. And I will see y'all soon. Look, coming soon to a city near you. Bye, y'all.